distance. The Briton won last time out in Hungary and might have felt he could repeat that feat when he beat the German to the first corner. But Hamilton could only manage to stay ahead of the rampaging Red Bull for just 30 seconds. Vettel swept past the Mercedes and shot off into the distance. He only surrendered his lead once to Jenson Button when he made his first stop for fresh tyres, but he wasn't behind the McLaren for long. After the first round of stops, Fernando Alonso, who'd started from 9th, found himself up in 2nd, ahead of Hamilton. If the Briton felt he was having a bad day, that was nothing compared to his compatriot Paul di Resta. After equalling his best qualifying performance of 5th, his hopes of getting a good result evaporated on lap 28. There were no dramas for Vettel, who went on to win by more than 17 seconds from Alonso.
Nice one, boys. Nice one! Yes!
The Ferrari driver is now his nearest rival in the championship. But Vettel's 5th win of the season has extended his lead to 46 points, the largest margin he's ever had. Nick Parrott, BBC News.
I was enjoying myself so much that I didn't think about, the results, other people. Obviously, I knew that at some stage Fernando was behind, but only because they told me, and I saw it on the pit board. But I would never ask during the race where other people are. It doesn't matter. In the end, you try to achieve your maximum, and that's what we did today.
I definitely can't complain. I think that we did a good job throughout. The team did a great job throughout the weekend. I think. Yesterday I was saying that I didn't think that we had necessarily the same pace as the Ferraris and particularly the Red Bulls, and I was right. So while I was driving I was thinking I was right. So we've just got a bit of work to do, and whether or not we can do that before Monza, who knows, but those guys were particularly quick on the straights today, and that's really where we were losing all our time.
Marc Marquez has extended his lead at the top of the MotoGP standings thanks to a fine ride to take victory at the Czech Grand Prix. Britain's Cal Crutchlow started on pole, but for him it was a race to forget, as Matt Roberts reports.
Marc Marquez came to Brno on the back of 3 straight victories, looking to become the first rookie ever to make it 4 in a row. But it was never going to be an easy task with Britain's Cal Crutchlow on pole position for the 2nd time this season. And Jorge Lorenzo and Dani Pedrosa both showing strong race pace despite qualifying on the 2nd row. Crutchlow was beaten to turn 1 by the Spanish trio, Lorenzo taking the whole shot and the early lead. And things got worse for the Yamaha rider when he crashed out on lap 6, chasing the front 3 from 4th position. Fellow Brit and teammate Bradley Smith also slid out on the 3rd lap before Marquez made his move on Lorenzo at the front. The pair battling briefly for a couple of laps before Marquez made his escape. Dani Pedrosa also came through to 2nd place, meaning it was a 1-2 for Honda that sees Marquez extend his championship lead over his teammate to 26 points. Valentino Rossi came through another close battle with Alvaro Bautista to take 4th place. The championship continues apace after back-to-back races at Indianapolis and here at Brno over the last 2 weekends. It's Silverstone next. The British Grand Prix is round 12, and that's next Sunday. Matt Roberts, BBC News, Brno.
Now to hockey, and England's men have left the European Championships empty-handed after losing 3-2 to the Netherlands in their bronze medal match. England fought back from going behind to lead 2-1 going into half-time. Richard Smith scoring with just a minute to go in the first half. But the Dutch side were quickly back on top after the interval. They levelled the scoring before Jeroen Hertzberger completed their comeback, ensuring victory and the bronze medal, England finishing in 4th. In the gold medal match, Germany saw off host Belgium 3-1, Oliver Kahn with the winning goal. The win completes a German double at these championships after their women's side beat England in their final yesterday. Charlotte Dujardin has won freestyle dressage gold at the European Show Jumping and Dressage Championships in Denmark. The Olympic champion won with a European Championship record points total, performing the routine with her horse Valegro, which won her gold in London. The pair only narrowly missed out on the world record score.
It's amazing, honestly. I can't, ask any more from Valegro. Every test I've done here, he has been absolutely fantastic, given me absolutely everything. He's coped with going in that arena, and he just gives me such confidence, and lets me enjoy what I want to do.
Alistair Brownlee has won his 15th World Triathlon Series event with victory in Stockholm. The Olympic champion lost to his younger brother Johnny in the last race in Hamburg, but returned to winning ways after moving clear of the rest of the field on the bike stage. He finished 14 seconds clear of Spain's Javier Gomez, with brother Johnny in third, a further 23 seconds back. So that's all from us here at Sports Day as England draw at the Oval, but they are just about to get their hands on the urn. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
You're watching BBC News. Let's return to the situation in Syria now. The Foreign Secretary, William Hague, has said he's certain that the regime were responsible for a chemical weapon attack on civilians outside Damascus last week. UN inspectors will visit the site tomorrow, but Mr Hague questioned whether the time delay has meant that much of the evidence has already been destroyed.
We're clear in the British government that it was the Assad regime that carried out this chemical attack, large-scale chemical attack last Wednesday that has led to the deaths, the agonizing deaths of so many hundreds of people, including tragically so many children. All of the evidence points in that direction, in that one direction. The eyewitness accounts, the fact this area was under bombardment by the regime forces at the time that the chemical attack took place. It all points in that direction to the responsibility of the regime. And of course, this is a regime that possesses chemical weapons stockpiles and has used chemical weapons in the past, including on a smaller scale over the last year. If the regime believed somebody else had carried out this attack, then they would have given access to the UN inspectors. Several days ago, it was last Wednesday night, that we and other countries called for that at the United Nations Security Council. They've refused that up till now. They have continued to bombard with artillery the areas concerned east of Damascus, which of course may have destroyed some of the evidence. So we have to be realistic now about what the UN team can achieve. They will no doubt work hard at it, but the fact is that much of the evidence could have been destroyed by that artillery bombardment. Other evidence could have become degraded over the last few days, and other evidence could have been tampered with. So we have to recognize that it is evidence, some of which could by now have become compromised. So in the light of that, we're focused in the British government on how we respond to what has happened. The Prime Minister has discussed that with President Obama. They are agreed there must be a serious response by the international community. We cannot, in the 21st century, allow the idea that chemical weapons can be used with impunity, that people can be killed in this way and that there are no consequences for it. And so we believe it's very important that there is a strong response, and that dictators, whether they are Assad or other people who might slaughter their own people or attack the people of any other country, know that the use of chemical weapons is to cross a line, and that the world will respond when that line is crossed. So we're focused on that. We're discussing that with the United States and of course with many other countries around the world, and we will keep everyone up to date with where we get to.
So if you think that some of the evidence may well be compromised at this point, 5 days on, will it make any difference? Are you preempting, in effect, what the inspectors may or may not find?
Of course, it is possible that the inspectors could find some things useful at this stage. We're saying, though, we have to be realistic about that. We have to bear in mind that 5 days will have passed. And in chemical warfare, that is a long time. That for biological information to have degraded, for samples to be harder to obtain. In any case, the area has suffered a lot more destruction since then. So if something comes out of it that adds to our knowledge, of course, everyone will find that useful. But there is a great deal of evidence already. It all points in one direction, and an inspection 5 days after the event is, of course, very, very late indeed.
Given that, what options are on the table?
Well, I don't want to go into those options now for obvious reasons. We are discussing them with the United States and with other countries. It's very important to act in accordance with international law and, of course, to have widespread international support for making sure that chemical weapons can't be used with impunity. But we will be deliberating about the options over the coming hours. We will have further meetings within the government tomorrow, and we're in close consultation really every hour through today with our allies and partners. So further detail on that will emerge in due course.
Right, it's time for a look at the weather. It's been looking a little brighter for many of us. What does tomorrow hold? Jay Wynn has the answers.
Well, bar the odd shower, most places have enjoyed a pretty decent day with some lengthy spells of sunshine and some warmth. Bit of a change overnight tonight, and that's a fair bit of a low cloud is going to develop, and that'll cover large swathes of the United Kingdom. Now, the low cloud drifting in from the east, fair bit of cloud around, as you will find in the north and the west of Scotland. And this cloud here is actually associated with a weather front, which is just drifting its way in. Maybe a few spits and spots of rain for the Western Isles, but I suspect most of the rain will be arriving here later in the day. Elsewhere, after a bit of a grey start, it does improve quite nicely as the afternoon. It'll be a lovely day for England, Wales, much of southern and eastern Scotland. Sunny spells and some warmth developing. The warmth spreading all the way up towards the shores of the Moray Firth. Further south, 24, 25 degrees. Should be a lovely day for Cardiff and across towards London. Really good news for the Notting Hill Carnival. A lovely day for it on Bank Holiday Monday. 24, 25 degrees. Sunny spells, light winds, ideal conditions. And it's going to stay fine across the southern half of the UK on into Tuesday. Further north, they've got this weather front slipping south into that area of high pressure. So yes, there will be some rain, but it's a weakening feature all the while as it drifts away from Scotland into northern England. So further south you are, the bulk of Wales, central, southern counties of England. Another decent day with some hazy sunshine and some warmth. And staying largely dry for the rest of this week. Always warmest in the south. There's likely to be a bit more cloud and some rain at times in the far northwest.
That is delicious. The
Great British Bake Off continues. Tuesday at 8 on BBC Two.
With 2 laps to go.
It is nice out there, he's thinking. But, of course, the TV's inside, and this is exciting. But sunny outside, isn't it? But the live TV is inside. This is a problem as old as television itself. But because you can watch live TV on iPlayer, that means you can actually watch live TV wherever you like. Look at that. There he goes. Go on, Mo. Live TV on BBC iPlayer, making the unmissable even more unmissable. Perfect, really.
This is BBC News, I'm Gavin Gray. The headlines at 8. Syria agrees to let UN inspectors visit the site of Wednesday's alleged chemical weapons attack, but the Foreign Secretary warns it could be too late.
Of course, it is possible that the inspectors could find something useful at this stage. We're saying, though, we have to be realistic about that. We have to bear in mind that 5 days will have passed.
The body of the 4th person who died following Friday's helicopter crash is recovered as the Super Puma aircraft is lifted from the Sea of Shetland. A second man is arrested following the shooting dead of a 24-year-old woman in North London yesterday. Also coming up in this hour, a run chase and a controversial end to the 5th and final Ashes test between England and Australia. But it's England who celebrate winning the most coveted trophy in world cricket.
Took it well.
And a shock result in the Premier League. Man City are beaten by Cardiff in a 5-goal thriller. Good evening and welcome to BBC News. The Foreign Secretary William Hague has warned that UN inspectors who go to the site of a suspected chemical attack in Syria may find that the evidence is compromised. United Nations weapons inspectors are expected to visit the site tomorrow after the Assad government agreed to let them in. Hundreds of people, including children, were killed in the pre-dawn attack in Damascus on Wednesday morning. Both sides in the conflict accuse the other of using chemical weapons. Naomi Grimley reports.